Your paid-off house is not your greatest asset. It is a financial trap. You did everything society told you to do. You paid that 30-year mortgage, you burned the paperwork in the backyard, and now you sit in a beautiful $500,000 house. But you have to check your bank account before you buy groceries. You are what banks call land rich and cash poor. Today, I am going to give you the exact blueprint to unlock the hundreds of thousands of dollars trapped inside your drywall. But you must watch this until the very end, because I am going to reveal the terrifying Medicaid look-back law, a legal loophole that allows the government to legally seize your family home after you die. You spent 3 decades paying for those bricks. Let's make sure you actually get to keep the money. So, welcome to the resistance. Say hello to Gray Guy. Gray Guy is 55 years old. He did everything society told him to do. He worked hard for 3 decades. He drove a boring, reliable car. He sent his kids to college and paid for their weddings. And last month, he made the final payment on his 30-year mortgage. He threw a party. He burned the mortgage documents in the backyard while drinking a cheap beer. He thinks he has won the game. He owns a house worth $500,000, free and clear. He is living the absolute peak of the American dream. But the next morning, Gray Guy goes to the grocery store. The total at the register is $200. He looks in his wallet. He opens his banking app. His checking account has $400 left to last him the next 2 weeks. He drives back to his beautiful $500,000 home, walks into his custom kitchen with granite countertops, and cooks a 90-cent cup of instant noodles for dinner. He is a millionaire on paper, but he is living like a broke college student. This is the silent epidemic of the American middle class. It is a financial disease clinically known as being land rich and cash poor. Let's look at the macroeconomic data, because numbers don't lie. Right now in the United States, there is a historic $48.1 trillion in retirement assets. That represents about 34% of all household financial assets in the nation. It sounds like everyone is rich, right? Wrong. Because for the average middle-class American, the vast majority of their wealth is not in liquid accounts. It is illiquid. It is literally cemented into the ground. Your house has become the massive, immovable, gravitational center of your entire net worth. And here is the critical inflection point. When you cross the age of 45, the rules of money completely change. For your entire life, you were taught that the goal was accumulation. Buy the house, hoard the stuff, stack the bricks. But after 45, mere accumulation will kill you. The new goal must be optimization. You need liquidity. You need cash flow. But here is the brutal truth the real estate agents and the banks will never ever tell you. You cannot eat drywall. You cannot pay your electric bill with a roof shingle. You cannot fund a medical emergency or buy groceries with your beautiful hardwood floors. Wealth that you cannot access is just a vanity metric on a Zillow page. It is an illusion designed to keep you working. We have been brainwashed by a system that profits off our debt to believe that a paid-off house means you live for free. Let me show you exactly what I mean. We need to talk about the biggest lie the American real estate industry has ever sold you. It is the myth of the free house. We have been brainwashed from birth to believe that once you pay off that 30-year mortgage, your housing costs permanently drop to zero. You get to live in a financial utopia where the roof over your head is completely free. That is mathematically impossible. A house is not a passive asset. A house is a needy 30-year-old child that refuses to move out, eats all your groceries, and constantly asks you for money. Let's break down the hidden costs of this so-called American dream. First, let's talk about property taxes. Here is a harsh reality check. You do not actually own your house. You are simply renting the dirt it sits on from the local government. You really don't believe me? Let's see. Try not paying your property taxes for 2 or 3 years and see who really owns that property. The sheriff will show up, evict you, and sell your paid-off house at a public auction. As property values go up, which everyone cheers for, your taxes go up right along with them. Gray Guy is paying $8,000 a year in property taxes on a house he supposedly owns. That is nearly $700 a month, just for the privilege of legally standing in his own living room. Second, let's look at maintenance and insurance. The golden rule of real estate: which nobody tells you when you are signing the closing documents, is that you will spend 1 to 2% of the home's total value every single year just to keep it from falling apart. On a $500,000 house, that is $5,000 to $10,000 a year in mandatory upkeep. The roof inevitably leaks. The HVAC system conveniently dies in the middle of July. The water heater explodes. And don't even get me started on homeowners insurance. Thanks to inflation and natural disasters, insurance premiums have absolutely skyrocketed across the country. When you add up the property taxes, the insurance premiums, and the baseline maintenance, Gray Guy is easily spending $15,000 to $18,000 a year on his free house. That is a massive, relentless cash bleed on a fixed retirement income. And why exactly is he paying all this money? For space he doesn't even use. This brings us to the psychological trap known as the empty nest tax. Gray Guy bought a massive 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house 20 years ago because he had 3 kids. It made perfect sense back then. But now, the kids are gone. They are in their 20s, struggling to pay their own rent in another city. Gray Guy and his wife are basically living in a museum. They spend 90% of their time in just 2 rooms, the kitchen and the master bedroom. But they are paying exorbitant property taxes, heating, air conditioning, and cleaning costs on 3 empty bedrooms and 2 pristine bathrooms that are only used twice a year during Thanksgiving and Christmas. You are hoarding square footage out of pure emotional attachment. Society tells you that selling the family home means you are failing, or that you are stripping away your family's legacy. You tell yourself, but where will the grandchildren sleep when they visit? Let me be brutally honest with you, because a bank won't be. It is significantly cheaper to rent a luxury Airbnb for your kids for 2 weeks a year than it is to maintain a $500,000 museum for the other 50 weeks. Emotion is the absolute enemy of wealth. Every dollar you spend heating an empty guest room is a dollar stolen from your actual freedom. But maybe you are sitting there right now watching this video and saying, Blue Stewie, I don't care about the property taxes. I don't care about the cost of heating empty bedrooms. I love my house. I'm going to stay here until the day I die, and then I'm going to leave it to my children to build generational wealth. Oh, really? Is that your master plan? This is interesting. Let me introduce you to the ultimate boss-level trap of the American healthcare system. It is a government mechanism so ruthless, so perfectly designed that it makes Wall Street bankers look like amateurs. It is called the Medicaid Estate Recovery Program. Let's look at the grim reality of aging in America. If you get sick in your late 60s, 70s, or 80s and require long-term care, like an assisted living facility or a nursing home, the costs are astronomical. We are talking $8,000 to $12,000 a single month. And here is the terrifying part they don't print on the brochures. Medicare, the program you paid into your entire working life, does not cover long-term custodial care. They will not pay for your nursing home. The only government program that pays for long-term care is Medicaid. But Medicaid is a welfare program designed for the poor. To qualify for it, the government forces you to impoverish yourself. You have to drain almost all of your liquid assets. Your cash savings? Gone. Your investments? Liquidated to pay the nursing home out of pocket until you hit rock bottom. But then, the government does something that looks like an act of mercy. They say, don't worry, Gray Guy. You can keep your primary residence. Your house is an exempt asset. We will cover your nursing home care, and you don't have to sell your beloved family home. Gray Guy cries tears of joy. He thinks he beat the system. He thinks he saved the family legacy for his kids. He didn't beat anything. He just signed a contract with the devil. Because of a federal mandate enacted in 1993, when Gray Guy eventually passes away, the state government is legally required to seek full reimbursement for every single dollar they spent on his medical and nursing home care. How do they get the money back from a dead man? They go after the only asset he has left. They place a massive legal lien on his exempt house. They force Gray Guy's grieving children to sell the family home, and the government swoops in to take the proceeds to settle the medical debt. The generational wealth you spent 30 years building in the form of drywall and roof shingles, it just evaporated. The state took it. Now you might be thinking you can outsmart them. Stewie, I'll just sign the deed of the house over to my daughter tomorrow for $1. Problem solved. Nice try. The government is way ahead of you. They invented something called the 5-year look-back period. When you apply for Medicaid, they perform a forensic audit of your finances for the past 60 months. If they see that you transferred your house, gave away large sums of cash, or sold assets below market value to your kids within 5 years of needing care, they will hit you with a severe penalty period. They will calculate the value of the house you gave away, and they will absolutely refuse to pay for your nursing home care for months or even years, leaving your family scrambling to foot a $100,000 medical bill out of pocket. They built a financial cage around your neighborhood, and they locked the gate. They want your equity trapped in that house so they can eventually harvest it. This is why holding all your wealth in an illiquid asset like a primary residence in your later years is incredibly dangerous. The system wants you paralyzed. They want you sitting in that $500,000 museum, paying endless property taxes and slowly bleeding cash until the Medicaid reaper knocks on the door. Or even worse, they want you to watch late-night television where a friendly, trustworthy celebrity in a comfortable sweater tries to sell you something called a reverse mortgage. Let me be crystal clear about reverse mortgages. They are a predatory lending tool designed to strip the equity out of your family's hands and give the keys to the bank. They convince you to borrow your own money at terrible interest rates just so you can afford to die in your own living room. It is financial suicide disguised as a lifeline. But you are not going to do that. You are a sniper. Snipers are agile. Snipers are liquid. Snipers do not get emotionally attached to their hiding spots. When the position is compromised, they move. It is time to execute the escape plan. Step 1 is the ruthless downsize. You have to sell the museum. I know it hurts. I know little Jimmy took his first steps in that hallway. Take a picture, frame it, and put a for sale sign in the front yard. Take that $500,000 in equity and turn it into cold, hard, liquid cash. Next, you buy a smaller, low-maintenance townhome or condo for $250,000. No more roof repairs. No more mowing massive lawns. Now take the remaining $250,000 in pure profit and deploy it. Put it into the low-cost index funds we talked about in our Wall Street briefing. Now, let's do the math. $250,000 growing at a historical 7% yields $17,500 a year, forever, without touching the principal. Your house is no longer bleeding you dry. Your equity is now paying you a passive salary. But maybe you want to take it to the next level. Step 2 is Geo-Arbitrage. If you want to win the game, you don't just change the house size, you change the zip code. If you are over 55 and no longer commuting to a corporate office, why on earth are you still paying premium property taxes in New Jersey, California, or New York? You are paying a premium for a school district your kids haven't attended in a decade. You pack up and move to a lower-cost state. Or, if you want the ultimate financial cheat code, you execute international geo-arbitrage. This is the nuclear option for the American middle class. According to the latest global data, countries like Portugal, Costa Rica, Panama, and Spain have become the absolute top international retirement havens. Why? Because the math is undeniable. You can take the cash from selling an average, boring suburban house in the U.S., buy a stunning property near the beach or the mountains abroad for a fraction of the cost, and have hundreds of thousands of dollars left over. And remember the healthcare heist we talked about in the last video? You should or take a look after this video. In these countries, you get access to world-class private healthcare for pennies on the dollar compared to the American system. You are completely neutralizing the two biggest threats to your retirement, housing costs and medical debt, with one single plane ticket. You are trading your liquid American drywall for absolute global freedom. That is how you build real generational wealth, not with bricks, but with liquidity and options. We have reached the end of the blueprint. Over the last 4 briefings, we have systematically dismantled the traps set for the American middle class. We rescued your cash from the invisible fire of inflation. We stopped Chad, the advisor, from draining your 401k with the 1% fee lie. We audited the hospital chargemaster to protect you from medical bankruptcy. And today, we took a sledgehammer to the biggest, most sacred illusion of them all, the American dream of the paid-off house. But here is the hardest part. The hardest part of this entire strategy is not the math. The math is simple. The hardest part is the psychology. Society has conditioned you for 40 years to tie your self-worth to your square footage. They taught you that a big house means success and downsizing means failure. Listen to me very carefully. The banks want you to stay in that house so they can eventually trap you in a reverse mortgage. The local government wants you to stay in that house so they can keep hiking your property taxes every single year. And the state wants you to keep that equity trapped in the drywall so they can seize it through Medicaid when you go into a nursing home. They are all counting on your emotional attachment to a pile of wood and bricks. But a house is just a tool. It is shelter. It is not your identity. It is not a religion. You spend the first 45 years of your life building the nest. That is the accumulation phase. But if you never leave the nest, you never fly. The second half of your life is not about hoarding bricks. It is about liquidity, mobility, and time. You do not want to be the richest corpse in the graveyard, sitting on top of $1 million property while you eat instant noodles and clip grocery coupons just to survive your retirement. A sniper travels light. A sniper is liquid. A sniper adapts to the terrain. It is time to sell the museum. Stop paying the empty nest tax. Protect your wealth from the government by talking to an estate planning attorney 5 years before you think you need one. Take your equity, execute the downsize, deploy the capital into assets that actually pay you, and buy your freedom. If you are ready to sell the bricks, I want you to join the resistance. Go down to the comments right now. Tell me where you would move if you sold your house tomorrow. Let's map out the geo-arbitrage targets. And if you are finally ready to unlock your wealth, type the words "I am free" below. Let the algorithm see that the middle class is waking up. This channel gives you the blueprints. But a blueprint is just a piece of paper if you refuse to build the system. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. Stop playing the victim. Start playing the sniper. I'm Blue Stewie. Stay liquid. Stay dangerous. Class dismissed.